Ime Udoka, I think he's getting it. And the Celtics dared to get more physical, and they respond. We're going to talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Thank you for making it part of your daily routine and your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Celtics is free, available on all platforms, including YouTube, and every episode is up on LockedOnCeltics.com. This episode is brought to you by TrueBill. It is the new app that saves you money by helping you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you do not want or need, and they can even negotiate better deals on those you want to keep. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Boston Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I've also written a book called The Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars, available everywhere books are sold. You can buy a signed copy, great Christmas gift, or whatever holiday you celebrate, great gift. If you give a gift, this is it. Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars, signed copies for $30 on my website, johnkaralis.com. A little something different today, looking through some of the quotes that I didn't touch on in the post-game podcast, some things that I think deserve a little bit something extra, something that I thought stuck out to me. So in the third segment, Jaylen Brown on bottling the performance from the Milwaukee game and moving forward. In the second segment, I should say, the challenge to be physical and what Ime told Jason Tatum about not treating guys with too much respect, which is a concept that's been talked about a little bit recently. I found it very interesting. But let's start with just a look back at the game here and just another quote from Ime Udoka talking about the passing and saying, this is the quote that I like from Ime Udoka. On both ends, I like the vibes, the feel. When we have 31 assists on 43 baskets, you can see it and feel the difference out there. So that's my first quote here. And not only that, you can see and feel where he says, I like the vibe. It's not just the 31 assists. Remember yesterday I said when they tally up the potential assists, we're going to be seeing some real, I think, movement, some extra indication that the ball was moving. Well, I went and looked at the potential assists. And the way the NBA tracking data is, admittedly, it's a little noisy. It's not great. It's not the best, but it's what we have. And so the potential assists are passes that were just misses, passes that became turnovers, passes that became fouls that could have been an assist but ended up being free throws. All of those things where the guy got the ball and was in a position to score, but something else happened that prevented it, either a miss, a turnover, or a foul, or something like that. So you can see what I'm saying. It's a little, I don't know. I don't want to say iffy, but counting the potential assists, there were 57 potential assists in this game where, I mean, it at least shows you that the Celtics had the ball, were moving it, and got guys in a position to potentially score. A lot of those potential assists were baskets. I saw with my own eyes baskets that could have gone in, misses. You just remember a few off the top of your head. Easy misses too, open misses. Not just you got it to a guy and he was a little out of position and he forced a shot, but it could have been a potential assist. That's certainly one that you might, if you look through all of the potential assists in the game, you might say, okay, I'm not really counting that off balance last second 3-pointer as a potential assist, but a lot of them you do count. And Marcus Smart had 19 of them. He had 11 assists and 19 potential assists. So really doing a good job out there. The added ball movement, the emphasis on that, I feel like we should give Ime some credit here. And I see a lot of animosity. I see a lot of things, and I hesitate to bring them up on the podcast because they're very often social media based. I mean, that's kind of where I see a lot of things. Where else? I'm not out there talking to people every day. It's log on to Twitter and you see comment sections and you kind of see how people are responding and you hear something here and there. There is a segment of the fandom that doesn't like Ime Udoka right now, that wants already wants him fired. Okay, that's ridiculous. But and we see that he keeps throwing out some lineups from time to time that he's like, all right, let's just try this combination. I think theoretically this combination should work a little bit, but maybe it's not, maybe it doesn't. And okay, at least he reacts and he doesn't go back to them. But the ability to get these guys on the same page, okay, they had a lull. They had a few games there, the back-to-back against the two LA teams, and then the Phoenix game. Obviously sloppy. Obviously, just they were the end of that road trip. That was a slide that they just needed to get back home. That happens from time to time. You're not going to snap out of every bad game with an immediate good game. Sometimes teams have 2 or 3. But the fact that Ime is getting these guys on the same page, that he can go through this film session that everybody's talking about, that he can go through and challenge everybody. Whoa, almost knocked my camera over. 1 through 15. If you see it on YouTube, it almost looks like a little earthquake. But, sorry about that. The fact that he can go down the line and challenge everybody from Grant to Romeo to Jason and Jaylen. Well, I'm sure today was Jaylen's turn, but any of those guys, Marcus, Al Horford, the fact that they know that it's coming from a good place, and that's the most important thing. It's okay to be challenged by an authority figure, or in the NBA, coach is more of a coworker kind of. I always compare them to middle managers, where you go to work and you have a person that's above you. That person's, that person approves your time off. Maybe that person can like ask you to work an extra day, but you know that there's 3 layers above that person. And it's not like that person is necessarily your boss. And that's kind of sort of how the coach is in the NBA. Like, yeah, that person is telling you when to go in and when to go out. And that person is certainly an authority and is telling you, here's our plan, execute that plan, and can dole out punishment by taking away playing time and stuff like that. But there's always that hammer that the player has of, I can always go to the GM or the owner, especially if you're a superstar. You know, the better player you are, the more sway you have in those other levels. So people can take some criticism the wrong way. But Udoka is laying it out there saying, hey, look, it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a place. We all want to just do better. Anytime I tell you something on the court, it's not anything personal. He's developing these personal relationships with these guys, and they're responding. They're a good third quarter team, which to me is a signal that they come out of halftime with that stuff from Ime fresh in their heads, and they apply it, generally speaking. They responded to this film session, and they applied it to this game. And to have him say, I like the vibe, the feel, that's that reward. You've criticized these guys, you've challenged these guys. Now they come out and do it the exact same, the exact right way to hear your coach. Look, this is it. This is exactly what I want. Do this. Like that's a good feeling, that positive reinforcement. Ime's got a lot to learn for sure. And we'll see. Like some of the lineup stuff, it's not really his choice. Some of it is his choice. Like some of it is just, this is the team that I have. These are the guys that play. And I got to use some of these guys. We can certainly criticize him for not developing the younger guys right now. But at the same time, there's the counter argument of like, hey, those guys got to earn it. You can't just sit somebody who has a track record in the NBA and say, all right, Aaron Nesmith, you've gone out there and not played well in practice at all. Go out there and play 35 minutes. Like there's some level of, hey, you got to earn it out there. And there's a push and pull, because I'm not saying that developing these guys and letting them play through the mistakes isn't also a good argument, but there is a push and pull there. And I think Ime is still trying to figure out exactly where certain things go. And we don't know what conversations have been had with the front office, with Brad Stevens, that kind of influence any of this stuff. So far, I think giving Ime Udoka the proper credit, the appropriate amount of credit after a game like the one against Milwaukee. I don't think I did that enough in the post game. I think this was an important thing to just kind of put out there, because as much as he's growing and learning just like anybody else with their first time on a job, I think there are things that he's getting and he's accomplishing. So good for him. And in the next segment, the challenge to his guys, especially Jason Tatum, with the quote, "These guys aren't your older brother. Don't treat them like that." That is coming up next. First, I got to tell you about Stance. If you don't know what Stance socks and apparel are, then you are missing out, because these are super comfortable, super stylish. And if you're looking for unique holiday gifts, this is a great idea. You need to buy these things now. For the Celtics fan in your life, if you go and search, Stance has partnerships, first of all, with all sorts of different collaborators, including licenses with the Major League Baseball, NBA, Wu-Tang Clan, Star Wars, Goonies, Harry Potter, Bob Marley. I mean, we're all over the place. So whoever you're shopping for, there's probably an option in Stance apparel. And you know that socks can make or break an outfit. You put together a fire outfit and you got bad socks on, that can ruin the whole look. So check it out at Stance. They have a new line of active apparel, cool gifts that you can give. And you can see, just as soon as you see the products and whenever you get them and feel them, how incredibly comfortable and well-made the socks, the shirts, the joggers, the hoodies, all of those are. So go to stance.com, check out this amazing selection of products. And again, for the Celtics fan in your life, some cool Celtics socks would be really great. Go to stance.com, use the promo code Locked On to get 15% off your first order. So make it a good one. Promo code is Locked On for 15% off at stance.com. I've also got to talk to you about my good friends at Crack Hot Sauce in Lowell, Massachusetts. It is a Celtics season ticket holder who has his own farm and sources products from other farms around Massachusetts, in Chelmsford, in Concord, in Sunderland. And we're talking about locally made artisanal craft hot sauces. If you have a hot sauce lover in your life, you want a great gift, go to cracksauce.com, CRAIC sauce.com. Check out all the different flavors. You've got golden pumpkin, 40 shades of green chili, Mill City Red, which is kind of like a more traditional one, Brian Boru's curry. You can just tell from the flavors. These aren't something that's just going to test your ability to stand heat. These give you some heat, but they give you flavors that you can cook with and pair with certain foods. I'm Greek, so I cook, and I use these in a lot of the things that I make to add a little flavor, add a little heat, because I do love some heat. But again, it's not something that's meant to torture you. Locally sourced ingredients, local employees, people in Massachusetts working hard to put a quality hot sauce out there for you. If you go to cracksauce.com, CRAIC sauce, the code is Locked On. Use the code Locked On. You're going to get 10% off Crack Sauce products. Get them for yourself. Get them for a family member. This is great. I use them. I swear by them. It's super cool. And whoever you get it for is going to love them. Cracksauce.com. Promo code is Locked On for 10% off. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Why not make your second listen the Locked On NBA podcast, which I will be hosting with Jake Madison, host of Locked On Pelicans. That's my Wednesday routine. Locked On Celtics, Locked On NBA. Going to be talking about Steph Curry's record. We're going to be talking about the games of the night. And we're going to be talking about real or fake every Wednesday, real or fake, about the trades, which on December 15th, trade season officially opens. Kind of a soft rollout for trade season. Check out Locked On NBA, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. This second quote is from Ime Udoka, who said, whether it was LeBron trying to blow down the lane or whoever it might be, we didn't like some of our lack of physicality. I'd rather put somebody on their ass or get into it then let someone go down the lane. That quote, I didn't get into that quote in yesterday's podcast. That is, put that, if anybody wants to, needlepoint that and put those home sweet home things, needlepoint that and put it on my wall. I'd rather put somebody on their ass or get into it than let someone go down the lane. That should be in every basketball locker room. I love that mentality. The Celtics, and I'll follow that up with a quote that he kind of said later. That he said, I gave Jason examples of what I said to Kawhi as a young rookie, respecting guys too much at times. These guys aren't your older brother. Don't treat them like that. He took it to heart and came out in attack mode tonight, but it's across the board. So the Celtics when you talk about respecting guys too much, the real respect for an opponent is trying to kick their ass. That's the real respect. Do not, and I've said this, I believe this all in my heart, cannot begin to express to you how much I feel this in my core. If I'm playing somebody one-on-one, or back when I was playing people one-on-one, and you're better than me, don't ease up. Don't screw around. Most certainly do not try to embarrass me because you think you're better than me and you're just kind of like messing around, because that's going to lead to some hands being thrown. I do not stand for that. If you're going to be, I'd rather be beaten 21-0 than have somebody kind of dance around and be like, whatever, and try new things because John can't handle it. He's too, I'm better than him and whatever. If that was ever the case, and by the way, it was never really the case, but if I ever was matched up against somebody that I couldn't handle, but I was still matched up against that person, bring it, because I want to see where I got to be. I found it disrespectful when people didn't give me their all, because I was going to go out there and give my all. I don't care who was in front of me, whether I scored 30 points or 3 points. I was going to go out there and do my best. And that's, I'm so happy that Ime presented that mentality to these guys, because you sort of let LeBron, you're like, oh man, it's LeBron, man. That's Bron. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, no, you know what? You put LeBron on his ass if you can. If he's coming down the lane and it's an easy layup, you get the no layups rule. Nothing wrong with fouling a dude and making him earn it at the line. Not hurting a dude, obviously. I'm not saying like hammer him and do anything flagrant, but go up there and challenge that thing. And if you foul him and make him earn it, great. I'm betting you that he will respect you afterwards. Nothing dirty. I'm not talking about throwing a punch. I'm not talking about throwing an elbow. I'm not talking about pushing anybody in the back. None of that stuff. Keep it above board, but play physical. That physical nature, that physical basketball, that's where I think people really earn their respect. And that's why Jason Tatum, with that attack mode in the Milwaukee game, to me, that is, to Ime's point, a sign of respect. I'm going to go at you. If you can't stop me, that's your fault. And after the game, it's whatever. But I expect you to come at me too. And those times where he got tied up with Giannis, and even if there's some pushing and shoving, cool. That's cool. Because afterwards, I guarantee you Giannis is going to say, look, man, that dude's a competitor. He's a great player. I respect him and his intensity. And yeah, in the moment, the emotions come out. But in reality, it's about respecting each other, giving it their all. Do not go out there and just give a guy a lane. Do not go out there and just stand aside because this person is accomplished. This person is going to be a future Hall of Famer. Do not be wide-eyed. You are in the NBA freaking A. You are out there as one of the best basketball players in the world. I don't care if you're Grant Williams. I don't care if you're Aaron Nesmith. I don't care if you're Juancho Hernan-Gomez. If you're in the NBA, you're one of the 400 or 500 best basketball players in the world. That's how good they are. Go out there and show it. Go out there and at least show why you belong in the NBA. And look, I'll finish with this. Just because a guy isn't good in the NBA doesn't mean he's a bad basketball player. He's still one of the best players in the world. And that's how good the best NBA players are. Because the best NBA players can make great basketball players look bad. Juancho can go to another league. I don't know if he's long for the NBA, but you put him in a European league or another foreign league, I bet you he goes off. I bet you he has like a good run somewhere. So I love this quote. I mean, I could sit here and talk for 5 podcasts in a row about this quote because I love it. And that mentality right there, that mentality, if the Celtics truly, truly, truly take it to heart, that's the quote. That's the one that's going to get them from playing down to opponents. That's the quote that's going to get them to be more consistent. If they take that quote, I'd rather put somebody on their ass or get into it than let someone go down the lane. If they truly make it part of the fiber of their being, now you got a basketball team. There's talent. That attitude is what's missing. So maybe it's going to be a little bit more prevalent. Maybe it's something that they're going to work on. But the second Tatum and Brown especially make that part of their mentality, their regular mentality, now you got something. Now you got something. They don't have that mentality right now. Not as the pure fiber of their being. But hypnotize them, do whatever you got to do. That's the line that changes everything about the Boston Celtics. Get that into your head, get that into your heart as a basketball player. Now you got something. Ooh, I love that quote so damn much. All right. I want to go play some ball right now. That's how much I love that quote. I'm old and fat, and I want to go out there and play some ball. Up next, the key to bottling that performance against Milwaukee. I'm going to talk about that after I talk about BetOnline, which has you covered for all season for more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Football is marching towards the playoffs. Basketball to its pseudo opening against for Christmas Day. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. So go to the new updated desktop or mobile site, sign up today, get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with the promo code Locked On. So basketball, football, NHL, boxing, your favorite Vegas casino games, all of it is on BetOnline, which is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Please gamble responsibly. Take some of those winnings, go to built.com. Make sure you're using that promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. 15% off every single time you order. You're running out of time for these holiday stocking stuffers. Built Bar is a great holiday stocking stuffer. You can get yourself 3-4 boxes, stuff them in everybody's stockings. Boom. It's better than the candy bars. It's better than all the sugar stuff in there because Built Bar, low calorie, low sugar, low net carbs, low fat, but high protein. People want the protein in their diet, but they taste like a candy bar. You're going to have a hard time choosing with all of the great flavors, but there are plenty for any taste profile out there. Nut allergy, no problem. There are non-nut options there. If you're on a keto diet, this works for the keto diet. So grab some Built Bars for yourself, for your friends, for your family as gifts. Go to built.com. Promo code is LOCKED15. 15% off your order every single time at built.com. Woo! Just snuck that in. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Why not make Locked On Bets your second listen? I just told you about BetOnline. Locked On Bets with your boy Q and Lee Sterling is going to, they're on a heater. People have been following their advice and they've won a few of those bets. So check it out. The Locked On Bets podcast. They have, some great advice. They've got some great picks and, they got the wrong team favored WTF. They'll let you know that. So check out Locked On Bets wherever you get your podcasts. Back to the quotes that I didn't share. Starting with Jaylen Brown here. This is a good one here. When asked about how to bottle up that Milwaukee game and save it for or recreate it for the future, he says, It's a short-term memory. You almost forget about it. It's just one game. Obviously, we're coming back from a tough stretch. Today's a big win, so on and so forth. But it's the short-term memory thing that I like about this quote. You almost forget about it. I'll support that. Sometimes the wins are less productive than the losses, because sometimes the wins are just a product of shots falling, and you feel like, oh, okay, the shots are falling. I'm kind of hot. I'm carrying some momentum in from the next game. I feel like I'm going to, just carry this over and settle for some jumpers, and things start to fall apart. Short-term memory, you almost forget about it. You recreate the things that you did well. This win, that offense was all about good ball movement, creating space, moving without the ball, making the right play, and eventually trusting your teammates to get the ball back to you. That's what Jason Tatum did. Did not really force it at all, and he was rewarded. Ended up dropping 42 points. Like, my lesson to Jason in that game offensively was, look at what happens when you move the ball the way you're supposed to. You get the ball back. If everybody moves the ball the way they're supposed to, the right people end up shooting the ball most of the time. Generally speaking, that's going to be the case. The ball finds the right energy. Move the ball, move yourself, cut, all of that stuff. The ball will find the right person to score. The short-term memory is, don't relax and sit back on your successes. Don't rest on your laurels, as they say. That is where the Celtics really, 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 really struggle. Really. They cannot handle success. Go out there. This is why I might have said in yesterday's podcast, I'm not surprised by the Milwaukee win. I'm not surprised by the Milwaukee effort. I won't be surprised if they go out there against Golden State and do the same thing. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if they do it against the New York Knicks. What's going to happen after that? Are they going to put together 3 great games? Could they go 3-0 and then, soil themselves in the next one? That's been their MO. Jaylen Brown. It's a short-term memory. You had a great game. Awesome. What can we take from that? Move the ball, play great defense. All right, do that again. That's the lesson. Move the ball, play great defense. That's why you won the game. I was talking about Grant Williams in yesterday's podcast and how context matters. Context. Why did we play well against Milwaukee? That's the question everybody should be asking themselves in the locker room. Why do we play well against Milwaukee? Move the ball, play great defense. That's it. Move the ball, move yourself, cut, do productive things on the offensive side. Don't get caught up in your own crap. Move the ball, make the right play. That is why you played well. So do that again. Don't sit there and think, oh man, I dropped 42 or I shot 50% or anything like that. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is we moved the ball well, we moved ourselves. Now we're going to go out there and we're going to do it again. That's what they should be thinking. So short-term memory. These 3 quotes from today's podcast are together the ingredients for sustained success for the Celtics. These are the ingredients for this team to go out there and put more consistent efforts together. Start with the good vibes, moving the ball, get into the physical nature. Do not show too much reverence for your opponent. Respect your opponent, but respect them by going out there and playing your best. And then after you play your best, wipe it all away, because the next game is another opportunity and another chance for you to go out there and put those good habits together. And remember that only when you put those good habits together does everything come together. And when you don't put those good habits together, you get asked questions about, things you don't want to answer. And that hurts these guys. All right. So that's the show. Appreciate it. Celtics do have a practice on Wednesday, which I will be at. So I will have more to talk about on Wednesday from practice, some of the things that are happening there. Hopefully there'll be no surprises, no bad news, only good news. And we'll see how that goes. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, please do so. Really want to pump up those YouTube numbers. And if you are subscribed to either or both, share the podcast. Tell your friends and family, everybody, that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network.